Hey crafty friends, what's the first thing that pops into your head when I say clean and simple? Do you think boring or do you think elevated elegance? I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do to elevate your clean and simple cards. And the last thing that they are, I promise you, is boring. We are going to be using You Are Remarkable for our flower stamp. Daisies are my favorite. We've got the, I can't remember the name of this die. Spotlight on Nature dies and some of the Nature Walk Designer Series paper. I was leaning one way, but I think we might be leaning another way, but we'll see when we're going through with it. So there are a few different ways that you can add elevated elegance to your clean and simple cards. Now, white space does not always mean that it has to be white. I've got a sticky note cut out that I'm going to use as a mask because I don't want the decorative border to have a stamped image on it. I use the 2 3/8 inch punch for this. It's not quite going to be a perfect fit, but it'll get us pretty close. And any overstamping should be minimal. So I'm using Memento for our ink because I use it for pretty much everything. And we're just going to kind of aim for slightly off center. So we're going to go straight down, straight up, and not bad. There's a little bit of ink oops, but it's fine. We'll deal with that. It's not a big deal. The first thing that I wanted to show you for a tip on how you can add a little bit of elegance to your card. I am just using basic white for this. I said earlier that clean and simple does not always mean white, and it doesn't, but I thought using a white card base and mostly white elements for this would kind of bring it home a little bit more. So we could totally do, this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. We could totally just put our circle, figure out where we're going to put it for our main focal point on a white layered background. It's pretty, it's basic, it's simple, but we can elevate it. There's a few ways that you can add interest to your card. One of them is by adding some texture. So if we add an embossed background, you can see that it immediately adds a little bit more interest to our card. You can also use subtle patterned paper instead of an embossed background. You can add twine or embellishments to kind of highlight your focal image, and you can also use color. I am going to color our flower with the watercolor pencils, but I'm just going to do subtle color today. We'll do, what color is this? Flirty Flamingo, maybe? Melon Mambo, I think, is a little bit much. I don't really feel like a pink flower today, so we'll do that. And we'll do, that's Rich Razzleberry, which is a retired color, but I still love it, so we're going to use it. And I'm sure you guys have retired colors in your stash as well. Daffodil Delight, and we'll hit a little bit of Old Olive. Probably would have been a good idea to get our colors before I got started, and a blending pen, because we might need to blend some of our colors to get rid of some of those colored pencil lines. All right, so I'm just going to start with the Daffodil Delight in the center. Rich Razzleberry. I'm just doing a very light addition of color onto the petals because I want it to be subtle, kind of like an osteo a little bit. I love any flower that looks like a daisy. It's almost the end of February. I'm also getting a little bit itchy for spring. Okay, this is Old Olive. And again, because we're using the blending pens and it's going to help us pull some of that color, I'm just doing a very quick job of the coloring. And Garden Green. Garden Green is just going to highlight the vein of the leaf. And a little bit, oh, missed a stem. All right, and then we're just going to pull in our blender and just kind of get that color pulled. Careful not to get too close to the edge because we don't want to have it bleed. And between each color, I am going to brush it off onto a scrap piece of paper because I don't want the colors to be transferred. It's not a big deal if it's in the same color family or you're going from a lighter color to a darker color, but it's a good practice to get into anyway, just to make sure that you don't end up getting a dark green on, say, a light pink. I'm not going to do it between the greens because they're green, it's nature, it's fine. Okay. And then if you wanted to, I'm stopping here, but you could add a little bit more color around the background if you felt like it. I'm not, because less is more. Another way that you can add a little bit of added interest and variation is in height. So you can pop this up on dimensionals to make it pop up a little bit. I'm just doing snail adhesive on the back because it's embossed and it is curved. I'm adding a little bit more than I usually do. Usually I just do two sides and stick it down, but I want to make sure that it's going to be flat. So we're going to aim for center here. That looks good. I like to line it up on the left and then push it down. Okay. So that would be perfectly lovely. Put a sentiment on the inside, add a little strip of designer series or paper, or a smaller stamped image on the inside. You're good to go. But we're going to elevate it just a teeny tiny bit. I have a piece of the Nature Walk designer series paper, and there's a couple of things that we can do. We can anchor it by putting the designer series paper behind our flower so that your eye is drawn a little bit more to the flower. The other thing that we can do is use a sentiment strip. Now I do need to cut this down, but I thought this would be a really pretty thinking of you card. So I've got the retired set here that I love. I love this thinking of you. It's from Beauty of Friendship. So we're just going to take our thinking of you, move our patterned paper off to the side, grab our black. I do love black on cards as well, just to kind of anchor it even a little bit more. And then thinking of you for the center, straight up, straight down. Actually, we're going to stick this back in the case so we don't lose it. And now we can trim it or simply layer it onto, actually I kind of like that, onto our pattern paper and then add it as a sentiment across the bottom. I'm going to do that, but I think what I'm going to do is attach our sentiment to our piece of designer series paper. Then I'm going to cut it. I want to make sure that it's fairly equally weighted and straight. Okay, so we can place it like this and then put it on our card, trim it down. I think I'm going to cut it, but I'm going to angle it as I throw my scissors across the room. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of chaos now and again. Do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way? I think I'll go that way. So one swift snip. And then, actually, no, you know what? I don't like that. We're going to make it flat. And we're going to stick it kind of, where are we going to stick it? Or we can change the orientation of our card and have the thinking of you. Actually, I kind of like that. So we're going to do that. Crafting is fluid. You can start in one direction and end somewhere completely different than where you intended. I tend to do a lot of vertical cards, but I think horizontal fits with this one. Okay, so we've got our dimensionals on our circle. I've got my supervisor behind me. I'm just going to lay this one flat. I kind of aim for lower center, I think, for this. And then we'll add our circle. That's about equally weighted. It's really pretty. I like the design. I like how the color balances. It's clean, it's simple, it's tight, it's tidy. But if you're the person who needs a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shimmer shine, you can absolutely add a little bit. A little goes a long way. I prefer odd numbers for most things. And for this one, we're working in the group or the rule of 3. So I'm just going to place 3 same sized gems in a row. Do I like them there? Actually, I think I'm going to move them down here. Please don't leave it behind. All right, the spatula end is a lot more effective at moving these around. I don't have my spatula end handy. So fingernails work in a pinch. We're just going to reposition that. And then reposition this. So this not only draws your eye to the flower, but it also draws your eye to the sentiment. Do you agree? Do you think this is a good design? Would you change anything? No? Okay, good. Sorry, she needs to have her opinion known as well. It's a nice-ish day outside, and she wants to be outside desperately. All right, so we'll stick our embellishments back in. You know, you don't get royalties for a guest appearance, right? All right. So there's our clean and simple card. You can see how just adding a textured background, a little bit of color, a little bit of bling, it's still clean and simple. It still draws your eye to the main elements without completely overpowering it, and changing the orientation from a vertical to the horizontal can sometimes be the exact thing that your design needs as well. If this has been helpful for you, please grab the 60-second design checklist down below. That will help you navigate your card design and help you figure out what could potentially be improved in your card designs. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.